Hello, and welcome to Games My Guy, the esports podcast by fans for fans. I am Patrick Aches Avery Kenny, and of course, I'm always joined by the lovely, wearing the Lightning Thief T-shirt, Ethan Doc Goose Butler. How you doing, man?
Electric.
Feeling really feeling yourself, eh?
I am just having a whale of a time. It's grand. Things are looking up for some of my teams. It's a wonderful time.
It is a wonderful time of year. And with May Melee coming to a close, I thought that it would be fun for this episode that we talk a lot about just the Defiance run in the Melee. We'll start with them getting into it in Vancouver Titans, and then we'll talk about the Atlanta Reign game as well.
Mm-hmm. Good call.
I mean, we're big Toronto boys.
We like them.
We love them. We think they're great. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot to talk about that there. But I think the first thing I want to talk about is our new look, actually.
Hell yeah.
We've just upgraded our game. We've made it so that we're going to be doing these as YouTube videos as well. And thanks to Brian Connell, who actually helped us out a lot, or helped me out a lot trying to figure it out. He answered all my questions, which was good.
The videos of the tests were absolutely tremendous. They
were late at night, and they were we were both just trying to figure this stuff out. We're both sweating. It was a shirtless call. You know what? I'm just gonna put it out there.
I was just gonna say, we're gonna put it out there and say it's like not exactly PG, so we can't really put those videos on. We don't want to get sued or banned or
that is for
promoted on the Ron subreddits. So
yeah, those videos are for my eyes only. And
we don't need our sexy nerds coming at us thinking that we're trying to get in on their territory.
Yeah, we want to keep it that way. I
actually don't know if there is an R sexy nerds. If there is, if
there is, Brian Connell, aka Landon Go, should be on there. 100%.
It should be the homepage banner. It's just him with a burrito,
as he is always
looking beautiful, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a lovely man.
Looking at myself in this video it makes me like I touch my face a lot, and now I have to make sure that I don't touch my face a lot. It's very funny. Anyways,
it's a nightmare.
Yeah. Anyways, we are a podcast. Oh, a little towel boy.
It's my facey towel.
Well, I think we could just jump right into it.
Yes,
we're
indeed.
talking. So, leading up to this game, Toronto Defiant versus Vancouver Titans. It's their plan to get into the May Melee. What were your original thoughts? Because I know you cover a lot of Vancouver Titans stuff,
yes.
And you work at the gaming house covering them and writing articles about them, and which have been very, very good, by the way.
Thank you. I had a lot of fun with my preview for this most legendary matchup.
Yeah, and they come out so quickly. Like you're like literally the game happens, and then in 2 days you have something up.
You have no idea. The Shockwave news, when this Vancouver announced that they signed Shockwave about an hour before the game, I was on the toilet. I booted out of there real quick, finished my business, to be clear, clean myself up.
Good.
And then I just want everyone to know that.
Yeah, I was going to ask.
Before I move forward. Then I proceeded to go to my computer and get a quick piece done, just announcing the news. And that was very exciting, to be honest, because as we'll discuss throughout this episode, one of the things that I think that was lacking with the Titans was a partner who can allow Dalton to play the heroes he should be playing. Right. Suna is very good, except he's really good. A lot of the heroes Dalton is really good at, and Dalton's maybe just got a little bit of an edge.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Dalton, he was looking pretty good. I mean, like we talked about it in the last episode, where the Vancouver Titans like really had a lot to prove, and they were playing like that. I'm still looking at the scoreline, like 3-2 for Toronto Defiant. we both predicted 3-1,
Yeah,
but the games were so close. It was a very,
they,
very close match.
yeah, like, it honestly almost it's it's weird to say because it almost feels like in the end, like that. I don't know if sometimes Toronto won, whereas Vancouver lost in some ways
Yeah.
because like for the games that the maps that they won, it's pretty dominant in some moments to be quite honest. Like especially I think it was a point two of Anubis. Because I think the Titans they
Yeah.
almost full held them on Anubis, and then we'll go map by map actually, but
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
just to get that just a few things out of the way is just that the Shockwave was dumpstering. Okay, like he's something that I will get more
Yeah.
in detail, but like that dude showed why he was signed.
Yeah. Like,
100%.
explain it to me like I'm 5 years old. Where did Shockwave even come from? Because I didn't know anything about this guy.
Um, I can't. I want to make sure I get this right because I
Yeah.
know he played briefly on Montreal Rebellion, Toronto Defiance Academy team before they disbanded.
Right.
So that's where I first discovered Shockwave. And I think he was a high profile player on like the rank for a while,
Right.
and then he joined. I believe he went from he went from just kind of playing
Mm-hmm.
to I don't think Montreal Rebellion was his first team. So I know he played on Rebellion. Then he went to he started with Square One earlier this year. Like he kind of had a pretty-quick speed run to the
Yeah.
Overwatch League. If I'm being honest.
Yeah.
He came, so I had to just look it up to confirm.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he started with Square One earlier this year. But then he was picked up by Montreal Rebellion, and then after Montreal Rebellion was disbanded, he went to a team called Raspberry Racers in the EU.
I
So
actually have heard of Raspberry Racers. I forgot
yes,
that he was on that.
yes he was, and he was clearly very good. He
Yeah.
had a lot of he was honestly the dude just popped off. I watched some Montreal Rebellion games too, and he was just like this is they were having a big upswing when he was on the team. He was
Yeah.
looking real good,
Yeah,
and so
exactly.
people were a little concerned that he has a similar hero pool to Dalton as well. So people were like, "Oh my god, they just picked up another hit scan player. Like they have
Yeah.
three. Like, but but works out in his favor is that he plays a mean Echo, and that's
Yeah,
something that Dalton or Suna don't play.
I was gonna
Really,
say that like yeah, like their hero pools are very similar, but then Echo comes out and now Shockwave has a character that he can just play that is, if not better than a lot of pros in the Overwatch League, it's on par.
yeah,
Um
he's
yeah,
definitely one like it's such a small sample size right now.
yeah.
Like of Echo players, like certain players stand out. For me, at least, players like Dante comes to mind. I really like Dante's Echo.
Yeah.
Or Libero, I believe, showed up pretty well.
He did, yeah.
Although
Yeah.
NYXL though. Hmm.
Who knows? Who knows? But
What
yeah,
happened?
yeah,
That's a different story.
yeah,
But yeah, no,
honestly.
Shockwave's great, and I think he was a perfect player. I think I really don't have much poor things to say about Suna. I think there was such a short time period. I think nerves, ping,
Yeah,
playing heroes he wasn't exactly comfortable on. There wasn't really a great first impression.
right.
That
Yeah,
being said, Shockwave made a really fucking great. Excuse my
yeah.
language.
It
Great
was.
first impression.
It felt very Jerry Boston Uprising. It
Yes.
felt very like it. I felt like I was like, oh, I've seen this before. I've read this before. Like it was very funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, Shredlock. I mean, this was the first game that I've seen him play,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, he was looking a little shaky, especially on the Ryan v Ryan matchup in map one, like when they're
Yeah.
on the control.
Yeah.
I was really, really hoping that Toronto would play a lot more dive in this series, but I mean, we did get some moments, especially on Anubis. We saw that dive come in,
Mm-hmm.
but Curry Von Zen is something else. It's something
Yeah.
else, and I've been really kind of I've been waiting for Kriv to like return to glory. Like that Paris Eternal game, our first game of the
Yeah.
season was
Oh my
all
goodness.
Kriv or
Oh.
Kriv, I should be saying.
And with
Um,
special appearage by Logic, absolutely
yeah,
dumpstering at sea on the Widow.
yeah, with special host or with special with special musical guest Logics.
Andreas Logitz, I believe Bergman.
Yes.
Pronouncing. I'm sorry to all for that pronunciation. I tried.
Yeah, and I found that Logic's he was just a little bit more consistent than Dalton, even though that map was
Yes.
the
Yeah.
map 2 was a big loss and the series was super close. Logic's just seemed to have especially when he's playing Ash and especially when they were playing Dive.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Logic's just kind of found ways to create value either out of a dynamite or saving Bob for whenever a grav was coming up. It was he was just very reactionary, it looked like. And I always find that the tradition with Toronto Defiant, it's always been take care of the hit scan player on your team, like enable him, so enable Logics on the Ash. The team always plays better.
Yeah.
And it depends if they're going with, like, I was very interested in this May Melee about comps and like how the comps would develop and what teams would be doing differently and what teams were really good at one thing. And Toronto
Mm-hmm.
Defiant were proven to be an okay an okay dive team. Like
They've had success with it. No, like,
exactly.
there's no denying. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's Beast's best hero for sure is Winston.
Yeah, it's a lot of comfort picks. So you get Beast on Winston, you get Nevix on Diva, and you get Cruz on Lucio, which he looks really good on Lucio.
I was actually really impressed by Cruz's Baptiste play, especially on Rialto.
Yeah,
like,
that too.
Like there was moments when like Shockwave would dive at him, and Cruz would somehow come out of that alive, and he'd get the kill. Yeah. Like, admittedly, there was one moment where like Shockwave killed 4 and went for the 5th, who was Cruz. So he was probably at like half health.
Yeah, he was like, oh,
so Cruz got him.
Yeah,
but like, still, like, Cruz looked actually. I really like his. I think his Baptiste is pretty good.
Yeah.
He has good aim, which doesn't hurt, especially on
which
Baptiste.
really doesn't hurt at all. Yeah.
No, it helps a lot to be more impactful. Like, beyond just healing, you're also doing a lot of extra damage as well.
Yeah, Cruz was a DPS player back in the day, right?
Yeah, he was a Genji main, I believe.
Yeah, okay, never mind. I thought he was hit scan. I thought that was kind of.
I have to look confirm, but I just remember there's clips of Cruz playing Genji.
I think I remember those too.
Just
but
yelling.
Yeah, Logic's on a whole had a really great series.
He did. Yeah.
I couldn't, like, he was just more consistent. He was more steady, and the team played into him, which really helped their chances.
That's the thing with Toronto. Sorry, it's just that with Logic, it's like he's really improved his consistency this year.
Yeah,
like the whole team is not the team as a whole has been struggling
a lot.
But I don't see that coming from Logic's really. I feel like he's pretty consistently delivering really strong hit stand performances. Like he comes out big with a lot of quick hits, headshots. Like he's just consistent. Like you said, he's very good, and he's just consistently delivering high level play. Whereas the rest of the team seems to be. I know I've heard reports like there's another podcast called CA Overwatch. Great guys, check them out. They interview the guy, one of the people who founded Overactive Media, and he talked about some of the things that Toronto was dealing with, and they were having really bad scrim results. Like they're just really struggling in that regard. So, but it just doesn't. On the big stage, it really comes across sometimes that like the team is just somehow losing. It's hard to pick out sometimes. They just like we talked about this I think in the last episode when we said well refresh anyone because we're still a little podcast, but we said Toronto should win this very handedly, but we said but a lot.
Yeah. Because it's Toronto sports. It had to go to game 5. It had to go to map 3 in game 5.
And one player had to clutch it out.
Yeah.
Mostly one player.
Well,
dominated.
Exactly. That was like map 4 was the greatest map of that series. Where Kriv just popped off on Zen, alone on the cart, just shooting balls at kids, trying to friggin' do it by himself. And it was like a big turning point. Like Kriv kind of just started stepping up after that.
They need to, Kriv, delivers fantastic work this game. There's
Yeah.
no denying that. I think he got player of the game because he deserved it. There was moments when it was almost like Toronto said, no, Vancouver said, we'd like to win this game. And Kariv said, maybe not.
Yeah.
And then they're like, all right. And then Kariv just threw Brady's corpse at them and then just. So I don't know him personally, so agilities.
Yeah.
But I just like the way Kariv says Brady.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think there was moments when Kariv had to do it himself.
It's true. But also Logic's had to do it himself sometimes.
Oh, without question. Yeah.
It was really streaky. It was really the performances on the maps that we lost were. I mean, I keep thinking back to Anubis when we were playing dive into a Reaper, and it just wasn't. It sucks because we play a really great dive comp, but it just sucks that Reaper counters all of it completely, and especially if he gets nanoed, or especially if they dive, like if the main tank, if Beast and Nevix dive and allow Reaper just to teleport in the back line, there's not really much you can do.
It doesn't hurt as well when Shredlock actually was landing some pretty fast shatters on the first point there. Like he shut them down. But I can't remember. I forget who's cast. I think it was ZP. And he's just like, Shredlock just said no, get out. And I was like, yes, he finally shows that. Like, one thing we need to keep in mind is World Cup probably not happening.
Yeah.
But if it does, who's main tank? You know who's a Canadian main tank? One of the few that I know of? Shredlock. We got Shredlock and we'll let Shane. So
Shane, yeah. I mean, from that performance,
I think there's a lot he can improve on.
There's so much he can improve on, and he's definitely not the number one pick. But
no.
It's great to see new talent coming in and going toe to toe with teams that have been playing in the league for at least a year.
Yeah. There's a lot of moments with Shredlock that I'm sometimes super impressed with Shredlock. I'm always dealing some great Winston dives, or he's just lands a shatter. His Orisa sometimes looks strong. And I can't tell if it's a disconnect with him and his supports. That there's sometimes when he's getting picked off very easily first.
Yeah.
It's like almost on. You can't really pin down the supports though, because they're clearly trying their best to heal him, but there's so much damage being done to him that he can't be healed through it.
Yeah.
I watched that game, and Rolf was actually doing. Rolf also did pretty well that game, actually.
It's true.
He did so much work trying to keep Shredlock alive.
Yeah. I don't want to say that the focus of Toronto Defiant's game plan was more about shield break and Vancouver's wasn't, but I did find that Shredlock was getting way more pressured by Nevix than Beast was getting pressured. Not to say that that's the reason they lost, but it's probably a mitigating factor at least.
Well, there was definitely a disconnect between. Sorry, maybe not a disconnect, but the inferior comps at times. Like certain comps shouldn't have been run against certain comps. Especially in the final map, the cast is even pointing it out. It's almost like they did a lot good this week, but then fell into some of the things that they've been doing wrong. Is that especially in the composition that they were running on the final map. I'm pulling what.
No, map 5 was a control map, which historically Toronto Defiant doesn't do well against. But they got to get people on comfort picks. Like they put Nevix on Diva. They got Orion. They got Lucio. And honestly, when Cruz is performing well, the team usually performs well as well.
Yeah.
It was just nice to see that we were trying a new comp. Kariv was enabled. He was allowed to play Zen and Ana and all of these different characters, and it was really dominant. It was 2-0. It was or no, sorry, it went to map 3, but
the two they won were actually the final one was 100-0.
Yeah, it was really, really dominant. And that's
I saw moments with Cruz was just hunting people. He hunted. I remember I saw him chase Tartar out.
Yeah.
He was going for blood.
Yeah.
That sneaky Brit was just going at him. Saying, God save the Queen, and they made him bow down to old mum.
Yeah, old mum, see? I got 2 pence.
It's all right, caw. It's time to get back in your spawn.
I'm fit as hell, mate. I'm
Lads,
10.
lads,
I'm
lads, I'm killing car.
I'm 10 stone, mate. I'm a 10 stone Lucio, mate. I'm gonna.
You're not worth 2 pence.
Oh.
Is that a lot? Oh, I don't know if that's a lot.
I don't know.
It
I'm
sounds
pretty.
low.
I'm pretty sure like 10 stone is like 600 pounds or something. It's something stupid.
10 down with a 35 feet vertical leap. It's just Australian now.
Just a huge man's.
Cruz is we've established now the myth of Cruz. He's just a behemoth of a Brit.
Yes.
Drunk on a pub Friday night, pounding kids in Overwatch Saturday morning.
Wearing whitewashed jeans to professional Overwatch venues. Cruz.
Union Jack.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Blazed
Cruz.
everywhere. Harrison Cruz Pond.
Oh man. Yeah, no, Cruz had a really good he had a really good series. I would love to hear how the communication hierarchies worked. Like if Cruz is the main shot caller or if he's kind of found his place in more of like a background reactionary shot caller. Because
from what I could, it was Beast, right?
Yeah,
Beast was the one primarily doing the calling before.
Yeah.
But Cruz is a strong shot caller.
Yeah, the way they play, it feels like Beast is shot calling. And I think Cruz would make a great secondary if he has shot calling experience, but it doesn't fit with the vision of how Toronto wants to do their attacks. Yeah. It's important to find the right shot caller for the job, and that melds well with the comp that they're running and the people that they're running it with. But
it'll be interesting to see how things move forward. Because
I wonder
with this 3-week break, they now have 2 or 3 week break. They have time to reset, reevaluate. Because I know this is the second season in a row they have had a coach leave mid-season, and so they need to get that sorted out.
That's something no one's talking about, eh?
No, I didn't even think about it honestly when Feifei left. I think I saw a random Reddit comment that's mentioned, and I was like, "Holy crap, you're right!"
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge because like a big part of an esport coach is creating an identity and creating a team environment that makes the players want to succeed. And when you take it's like in traditional sports too. If you take out a coach halfway through a season, it's not easy. It's not easy for a team to bounce back and find the drive that they had with the former coach.
It's just also it leads to some instability.
Yeah,
we don't know that. This is all just like speculation, of course, but like we don't know. But I've seen the report again. I've referenced the other podcast I mentioned earlier. When in that they talked about why Agilities and Surefour weren't playing, and like because apparently Agilities was like sick, so that's one of the reasons they picked up Zik and tried him out. But Surefour was just needed a break because the losing scrims were really affecting his mental. And he was getting really frustrated. There was just a lot of frustrations, I think, in the team because of how they were performing. And so something would need to change because you can't have a player because they mentioned Surefour is a fierce competitor. Yeah. That dude wants it. And so you need to keep Surefour happy and winning. And Surefour has the abilities to do that. Like if you pair, like when we talked about him when he was subbed in accidentally on that first map a couple weeks ago, he popped off. Like, he showed he can. Like, you need to pair him. I like Agilities on Echo, I think, but like his May is obviously lacking, so they bring in Zik. Right. Just you don't have to put Surefour in May jail, but I think just it's worth giving the Surefour Logits duo a real shot. Yeah. Because at this point, what do you got to lose for a game if you try it? You could lose a game, sure, but look, you're already low, and like you need to make sure you get all your wins. But something needs to change in the structure. Just people talk about Surefour being a great motivator in the game as well. Like he's really good at keeping the morale. It's true. And so that's something I think this team could really benefit from. I would agree. And after a 3-0 loss to Atlanta, after they made it into May Melee, that might it might be something that causes change or pushes people to make other decisions about either the team or how they're going to run the team. But the Surefour stuff, that's like a whole other podcast. It is. I know. I just wanted to make sure I touched up on it
for sure.
Just because It's I even made a comment on Twitter. I posted like a status. I said because Avatar is blowing up right now, and everyone's watching The Last Airbender. Not the movie that doesn't exist. We're watching the TV show that's now on Netflix in the States.
Yeah.
And so I mentioned it's like when the Defiant fans needed him most, he vanished. And it's just a gif of Surefour like blowing kisses and doing guns because like a lot of the reasons for Toronto's increased level of fandom this year was bringing in a player like Surefour, who's immensely popular, is a Canadian player, and people want to see Canadian players on Canadian teams.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of hype coming in, but you need to keep him happy, essentially.
Yeah. No, but this also,
that's not the only priority, of course, but just I mean that as in terms of I just feel Surefour brings a lot to the team.
He does. He really, really, really does. And he was marketed as this franchise player that Toronto are going to keep. Hopefully they keep doing that. I mean, I think that Surefour is a good fit. It just might not be what the team is, this might be what this team can do at this time.
Yes.
Hopefully next year will be different. I'll be interested if we drop anyone, if we decide to change anything up. But let's talk a little bit about the Toronto Atlanta game. I mean, it was a 3-0. But I think it was just especially in the comps, the comps that Toronto and the Atlanta were using. Orisa Sigma is Atlanta's bread and butter. That is the comp that they run most. It's the comp that they seem to do really, really well on. And it's the comp they use when Gator's in.
He has been playing a lot more now, though. Gator's been starting primarily over Pockbo. I think since there's one game a while, not too long ago, so since then, Gator's been starting for a couple weeks now.
Yeah, that's true.
They had him, I believe they ran him with Fried as well, and like Fried popped off.
Yeah.
Their depth is unreal, though. At the
Atlanta,
good
true.
lord,
Absolutely.
They have Hot's is really good. Fried is people forget he's so good. He started over Dato for certain reasons, but he actually proved that he was maybe better than Dato at some moments. I'm going to say it. He played really well last year, and the times he's played this year, he's played really well.
It's true. He's always shown up whenever the team's asked him to come.
I think one of the things, though, that I saw with Atlanta was, well, they were obviously running Dodman and Kodak a lot this weekend.
Yeah.
And the problem with them fell when they were forced off Kodak Zen. Because that's when that just in terms of for Atlanta issues, they should have played Massa if they were going to play anything but Zenyatta.
Yeah.
But they obviously preferred one thing and didn't go that way. But with Toronto, it just seems like with that Vancouver game, the Atlanta game, so I know it was only not maybe a day to prepare, but they tried to prepare. But like they just looked underprepared. Like it just certain at moments they just seemed off.
Yeah, for me it was. I was just thinking about they really didn't have a lot of time to prepare, and they just came out of a really, really, really difficult game a series that shouldn't have been so difficult, but a really, really difficult series against Vancouver Titans. And I'm sure in the back of their heads they were thinking, man, like we go to map 5 against Vancouver Titans, and now we're going up against Atlanta Reign. Like that has to play a part for sure. I think
it would affect the mental for sure. Because everyone talked about how this was like Toronto's team to lose. This is like they didn't expect Vancouver to show up really at all.
Yeah,
and then to have that team like that really take it to the limit and actually dominate at some moments, it has to really affect your mindset going into another game.
Yeah, it does. And going into a game that you had maybe hours to prepare for, it's tough. It's tough to scrim and prepare for something like that. But I mean, shout out to Defiant showing up, I guess.
Yeah, they didn't.
Yeah, I didn't expect them to win this game. I
had hoped, and I thought if they did, it would be kind of awesome. Like, I'm an Atlanta fan too, but so I was conflicted. But I'd like. Obviously, I think, like we mentioned, this break is really good for the Defiant. This break could not have come at a better time.
Yeah,
they're one of their lowest points of the whole season is right now. So they need to use this time to grind it out. Not even that, not even grind it out. Just really look at what are the problems for this
Mm-hmm.
team, identify them, and if changes need to be made, need to make the changes.
No. I think we're really close, to be honest.
Yeah, like
Like
it
I
just
think I
feels like
think
there's
the
games. They're so close.
exactly. There's games that you wouldn't even recognize them.
Mm-hmm.
But that's mostly because either Logic's pops off or Creve pops off. Like it's these individual plays that are really pushing Toronto forward.
Yeah.
But let's see if this 3-week break is going to be enough to give them the confidence. Like just give them a drive to work better as a team and figure out ways to find wins against teams they should be beating.
What would you say is if you had to look at this team right now and say where is the area they're struggling the most?
Yeah.
Not even like general teamwork. That's
Mm-hmm.
an issue that needs to be worked on, of course. But in
Yeah.
terms of like tank DPS or supports, what do you think are the people who are having issues the most?
Yeah. I mean, Beast at the beginning of the season was having a lot of trouble. I think Toronto shot themselves in the foot a lot of times committing to comps that their team just wasn't performing well on against other comps, especially when we mirror. Like in Atlanta, the Atlanta Reign game, we were mirroring the Orisa Sigma and we were
Mm-hmm.
not doing well.
No,
we were
no.
not doing well. So I
Like
literally
Nevitz is a good Sigma,
he
but
is.
just Hawk and Gator have been playing. People, you don't think about
Exactly.
this. Hawk and Gator haven't just been playing together with this composition on the Atlanta Reign.
Yeah.
They were playing this for it's almost 2 years now, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not 2 years, but they played at all Atlanta Academy last year. They're this, technically speaking, were the second best tank duo to come out contenders in the world. Like because
Right.
if we're going by Gauntlet results, they came in second against Element Mystic.
Right.
That's against EU, NA, Korea, Pacific. Everyone came into that tournament, and who came out second? Atlanta Academy, and Gator and Hawk were at the front of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so these guys are good at Orisa Sigma. Gator is probably one of the top Orisas in the league. When you see him do very well, his halt usage is unreal. Everything he does is just really well timed.
Yeah.
And so they would have a big challenge at, like you said, mirroring that.
Yeah. And that was difficult to watch. And then when I saw them switch it up to Ryan Diva, I was like, oh, perfect. Like let's just play comfort picks. That's fine.
Yeah.
Like put Nevix on Diva. That's cool. But I saw that I saw Toronto running comps that they either practiced or they felt were good, but just were not bearing fruit. They just weren't finding team wins with the comps that they were running throughout the year. So
yeah,
what I would say, just to your question, I think, to be honest, I think it's the tank duo just trying to find the mesh, because they're being asked to play like all of these different comps, but once you put them on comfort, once you put them on a dive comp, they know exactly what to do. They know how to play their roles really well in that situation.
It's almost like with the opportunity present itself that I've seen some teams do, and I really think it's a good idea, is having, I don't know, I'm not saying I don't have faith in Beast. I think Beast has actually performed better than people think he was going to. I think he's been he's a mid-table, I would say. Like he's pretty solid. He's inconsistent, but he's actually capable of really good results. Having someone, like you said, but having someone like maybe signing another tank duo who can challenge them for starting spots, or even just has an option so Beast can focus on the heroes he's really good at. It's one of the things that I was mentioning with Boston Uprising prior to a recent turnaround. Hopefully it stays that way. But it was more, Fusions is very good on like Reinhardt, and his Winston's actually not bad. I've seen his Winston's actually look pretty solid. So you need someone maybe who can fill the Orisa ball. So you can have your one player. I'm not saying, I know it's hard to develop synergy over multiple different things, but just it's an option that you can have one tank guy who's focusing on certain heroes and have the other guy specialize on the heroes they're good at. Yeah. So that way you're not stretching your players too thin.
Exactly.
And that's one of the reasons that's happening in Boston too with Color Hex, is being forced to play heroes he's not good at. And so he's looking bad, but when you put him on heroes he's good at, he pops off.
Yeah. And we already do hero specialization with DPS roles. Why not do it with the tank roles as well? So I mean, like with all that stuff, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, the meta is going to change every week with different hero pool stuff.
If that stays, I know
If that stays, yeah, that's a
they
big
have.
if.
I think it should. Honestly, the way the main melee turned out, people are saying, yeah, maybe the hero pool should be extended. But part of the reasons that we had such great Overwatch and there was such diversity of compositions, yeah, there was a lot of Risa Sigma, but there was also, we saw plenty of Winston, plenty of Ryan, Diva. Everything was seemed to be played this weekend.
Yeah.
It was because with hero pools, there wasn't a stagnant meta going into the weekend, and so once every hero was unlocked, teams were free to just do whatever the hell they wanted.
Yeah.
And like every team seemed to find their own style.
Exactly. And I was enjoying watching like the nuances that teams were finding just with like single hero pick alterations, like running the Zen Bap instead of the Zen Brig and seeing how that would work, or using a Diva Rhine instead of a Rhine Zarya. And just I was excited to see the different alterations and different solutions to team fight wins that teams were finding in the May Melee.
And we did see that in the Toronto game. Like there was moments when they would run the May Reaper. We saw Echo, we saw McCree come out sometimes, but they all just had great success with McCree. And like Ash as well. It's just there was a nice variety. With Toronto, I know why they picked up Zit was primarily, I think, for the May. Because Agilities was, I don't even think Agilities was horrible, but that was one of his weaker heroes. Maybe. But like he had some moments where he looked pretty good.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm just being optimistic. Yeah. But they bring Zit in primarily for May. I know they said Agilities was under the weather, so that's why he wasn't playing this week. And so, because Zit had his moments on Echo, but there was other times where he was just straight up being dumpstered by like Shockwave.
Yeah.
And so it would have been nice to have Agilities, but if you couldn't, Zip doesn't look too bad as an option. But then you also, I know Magnitude's doing more coaching this play. He can step in as a player when needed, but he's more coaching now.
Yeah.
Damn it all. I wish they used him. Because his May was good.
Yeah. It's true.
If I remember correctly, Magnitude had a very good May.
Yeah. And like another example of just hero alterations made just to counter certain teams. Toronto for Atlanta Reign, especially at least in map 2 against Kings Row, they swapped Nevix to Diva just so that they could deal with Edison on the Echo. And every time that Nevix was dead, Edison had like free reign because they're running a May comp as well, like you were saying. And it was cool to watch to see that adjustment, but it just wasn't enough.
No.
Yeah. But I mean, like,
no, we don't want to be too harsh on them.
Yeah,
I just think.
And no one was expecting them to win this game. Like it was one of those games that, great, we got in the May Melee. Okay, bye. Like we did.
We are the Canadian team here. Let's go.
Fantastic. And then they just left.
oh, we can't play anymore. Sorry about that. And then we just
and then they're like, that sounds about
dipped.
Right. And then we left. But
there's some things that need to be worked on. I think like I don't want to sound like a broken record, but again, this break is good for them. Now they have time to mentally reset, and you can feel like you're going into the next tournament with a fresh start.
Totally.
Yeah, you're coming off a string of losses. Take some time, figure shit out. If you need to make the change, but don't mess with things unnecessarily.
Yeah.
And at this point, I don't know if it's too late to bring in a new coach because they've got someone filling in now who's still relatively new to coaching, but like. I think it might be almost too late for that. So it's just, you have to ride it out. Hopefully it works out and see what happens.
Yep. We'll see if the investments that the Toronto Defiant put in people like Surefour and Nevix, these Overwatch League veterans, see if that bears fruit.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I think if it does, we'll see a turnaround because there were signs of that it was happening. Like taking teams very close. Stuff like that. Some solid performances against like the Shock and whatnot recently, even though it was a loss. Stupid damn it, Moth and Smurf. But no, I think it's not all doom and gloom for Toronto fans if you're listening. It's just they need to solidify a few things. I'm trying to I'm not even saying make wholesale changes. I've said that's an option,
Yeah.
but you have pieces on this team that are good. Like your support line's solid. Like Cruz really good, and Cruz is pretty solid as well. Your DPS, you have a lot of variety there. Logis is a great hit stand player. Surefour is as well, but Surefour is also really good projectile. Surefour is just good at everything. But I love him.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot to look forward to and a lot to really to use this time to really just reset.
Exactly. And then that's all we can hope they do. But I mean, the May Melee was really fun to watch.
So good.
I watched the finals just because I always put the Mayhem really, really high. So that was fun to watch.
Yaki was a menace.
He was.
The whole team was really good, but Yaki on Tracer was scary.
It was a lot. It was a lot. And there's another like in the past you haven't been able to see Tracer players play Tracer.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think the meta right now looks kind of fun, at least on the professional level. So,
yeah.
But do you have any other closing thoughts on May Melee?
I'm just really excited to see the league trying new things, and I think it's really good for the league to really use this season to experiment, see what's working, see if they tried the one thing and viewership was down, they tried this, viewership went way up. They added the tokens, also adding to viewership. But I think it's just really cool to see the league trying new things, testing things out, see what works. So in 2021, when things hopefully can resume in person, I think it's really a good sign for the league. I'm very positive moving forward. Like there's so much time recently where everywhere you went on social media was just such doom and gloom, and so everyone was so negative. It's nice to see some actual positivity now.
Totally, I totally agree. And we'll see once all this COVID stuff is over. We'll see how the league bounces back and see what the live events are like.
It'll be hopefully really good. I really hope we get a World Cup this year, even if it's online, just because I always really enjoy it. But if it doesn't happen, hopefully they would bring it back.
Yeah, hopefully when everything calms down.
Yeah, obviously with BlizzCon being canceled, it kind of throws things off.
Exactly. But... Oh well. But that was our podcast episode today. If you enjoyed it, I hope you can give us a like, give us a follow on Spotify. You can also, since we're going to be posting these YouTube videos, you can come find us on YouTube at Games My Guy. We're also on Twitter, which our lovely Ethan Butler curates. It's at Games My Guy. And if you have any questions or comments or something you want to hear on the podcast, you can also email us at gamesmyguypodcast@gmail.com. But
let us know if we're bad, good.
Tell us how bad we are.
We just we like people.
Just talk to me, man, please.
Oh, please.
Yeah. Ethan, I realize that I haven't been promoting your personal Twitter or any other socials that you want people to hear about. So please tell the people.
Oh yes, please. Actually, if you're looking to follow someone on Twitter who's tweets mostly about Overwatch,
so the same as our Twitter.
Pretty much. If you follow me, it's very similar to what Games My Guy does, but it's my Twitter is ButlerE15 at ButlerE15. So come give me a follow, chat with me, talk with me, please. I just really enjoy communicating with people about Overwatch League. I write about the Vancouver Titans for thegamehouse.com, so check out my stuff there. If you don't like what I say, let me know, and maybe I can hopefully work on that.
Yeah, perfect. All right, see you next
Patrick,
time.
how about you plug yourself, sir? I mean, not like that.
I will plug myself. It's so I'm mostly on Instagram, so it's Pavery KEPAVERYKE. And that's just my personal socials. Some video games, some not, but most of the video game stuff I'm going to be posting is the Games My Guy Twitter and through the YouTube channel as well. But I hope everyone has a great day, and we'll talk to you all very soon.